Hey, 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 this is Samantha Farley. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you all here celebrating the end of 2022 with me. Today, I want to talk about goal planning for 2023 when it comes to your diabetes and your blood sugars. Before we go into 2023 and worrying about next year, let's do a quick recap of this year and looking over 2022, breaking it down by month or breaking it down by quarter, however you really want to do it, but evaluating how your 2022 went with diabetes. Now, I know we have so much going on in our lives, diabetes aside, and it's really important to break down goals when it comes to, your work and your professional life and other personal goals that you have. But today I want to take the time to talk about diabetes specifically and what went well in 2022, what didn't go so well this past year, and what are some things we can do differently next year when we're really just living our life in 2023. First, let's think about this past year and maybe some things that didn't go as planned with our diabetes or just didn't really go the way we wanted it to, and thinking of those in your head right now. Like, for an example, for me, I did have some days where I had some high blood sugars, of course, right? That happens, unfortunately. But when I look back at those high blood sugars, most of them happened after I ate a lot of processed food, eating things like pretzels. So one of my favorite snacks ever before I was diagnosed with diabetes was pretzels, and I would eat so many pretzels all the time. Well, when I was first diagnosed back in 2021, I kind of gave up pretzels. I didn't really think I could eat them because they aren't necessarily blood sugar friendly, right? They don't have all the nutrients in it that will help me manage my blood sugars later on. So I kind of gave them up in 2021. However, in 2022, I missed pretzels so much that I brought them back into my lifestyle. And it's kind of funny because they do destroy my blood sugars. I have tried really hard to find a way to eat pretzels where they're not going to destroy my blood sugars. And really, the only way that I have learned for me to do that is to only eat 4 or 5 or 6 pretzels. Like, only a handful of pretzels will not destroy my blood sugars. However, if I'm distracted and I'm watching a TV show and I grab a bag of pretzels and I start eating and I notice, I eat more than one handful and I am eating 5 handfuls, my blood sugars will go through the roof in about 1 to 2 hours. And unfortunately, I know that. So I'll look down and I'm going to go, crap, I just ate half the bag of pretzels. I know for a fact my blood sugars are going to go high. And this is even the case if I take a lot of insulin to cover technically the carb amount of the pretzels. If I do that, I'll actually drop first and then I'll have to eat sugar and then it's going to hit me later. So I'm still trying to figure out how to eat pretzels the best way going forward in 2023 because I don't want to have to give them up because it really is my favorite snack. So I shouldn't have to give them up. And I'm really trying to figure out the best way to do that in 2023. But when I look back at this past year, there were several times that I would eat pretzels and my blood sugars would go to like 230 or 240. And then I get really upset. And then I have to go for a long walk to bring down my blood sugars. And then I'm just really mad at myself. And then I'm chasing my blood sugars all day. And it's a downward spiral. And I don't really mean that in a negative way, but it is. Like, for the rest of the day, I'm kind of just frustrated about the fact that I had those pretzels and then my blood sugar went high and I had to deal with all of that. So looking back at 2022 and eating those pretzels, I wish I would have only had a handful. So I don't necessarily wish I wouldn't have ate those pretzels. Like, I'm glad I did eat those pretzels, but I wish I would not have ate as many as I did. And I wish I would have told myself, Samantha, you know what's going to happen if you eat half this bag of pretzels. So do not do it. because then you're just gonna be mad at yourself later. But of course, I don't listen to myself and I just eat the bag of pretzels. And then later on, I'm mad at myself because my blood sugars are through the roof. So that is just one example of things that didn't go so well for me. Is if I eat too many processed foods, my blood sugars will go above 200. It happens. It does every single time. And so now I'm trying to also, going into 2023, I'm going to try to include other foods with the pretzels. So maybe I'll eat the pretzels at a meal, right? Like I'll have it with my dinner, or I'll have it with my lunch when I'm eating other types of foods that have protein, fiber, fat, carbs, all of that combined. So it will help my blood sugars not spike later on. Does that make sense? So think about something like that for you, right? Like what this past year did maybe not go so well that you want to change in 2023. And not to look back at 2022 and just say like, oh, it was a terrible year with my diabetes. Let's think about something positive too, right? Like what positive thing happened in 2022 with your diabetes? So yes, we just talked about maybe a negative for me that I want to try to change in 2023, but what is a positive that came out of diabetes this past year? Or what's one thing that you did really well that maybe you haven't done in the past with your blood sugars this past year? One thing that I did really well this year is I got out there. I went and attended a bunch of diabetes events. I went and met a bunch of people that live with type 1 diabetes, because for me, that is really, really important, because as you guys know, living with type 1 diabetes can sometimes feel really lonely because most people don't have to deal with the things that we have to deal with. So it's really important to surround yourself with other people that understand what you're doing every day and what you have to go through every day. And they understand, when you have a 200 blood sugar, how you feel. And they understand that if you have a 40 blood sugar, how you feel, right? And so I am very proud of myself for being a counselor at a kids camp. I am very proud of myself for attending an adult diabetes camp, which if you've never done one of those, I highly recommend it. It's fun and it's filled with a bunch of people that understand you. So definitely attend one of those if you can find one. I'll probably do another one next year because that's how much I enjoyed meeting people who understand me. And I'm really, really proud of myself for signing up for the New York City Marathon with Beyond Type 1 team. So for me, being a new diabetic, I mean, honestly, it still hasn't even been 2 years yet. I have done so much in the diabetes space that I'm really proud of myself for, one, standing up for myself in this space, right? And choosing to find the positives out of diabetes. And two, I'm proud of myself for getting out there, because my goal with this video and this podcast and this message is to help someone out there. I would love to help thousands and thousands and thousands of people living with diabetes, but really I will be satisfied if I can help one of you. If I'm helping one of you today, please comment below, because it means so much to me when you guys comment and say like, hey, Samantha, thanks for sharing that. Like, I'm the same way. Or, hey, Samantha, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know this and you're really helping me out. Because I've gotten those messages and it means the world to me. And that's what keeps me going with all, these videos and the podcast and just sharing this information with you all. And so that is what I'm proud of myself for, because when I'm helping you all, it makes my day. And so I'm really happy that I've gone out there and shared things and met people, because it's really made my life better. It's made my diabetes better. And it's just been an overall great experience. Before you think about 2023, give yourself a recap of 2022, right? What didn't go so well? But once again, we've talked about this before. As long as you're learning about the experience and learning about the things that didn't go well, and you're going to change it for next year, then it's okay. And be proud of yourself that you're even thinking about that and being like, I'm done with making these mistakes. I'm going to change it for next year. And then think about the positives that came out of this past year, out of 2022. What good things happened? What things made you feel good about diabetes? What inspired you with diabetes? What did you do well this past year? Write all these down because it's a lot more helpful if you write them down versus just saying them out loud or saying them in your head. You got to write them down. And then this will help when we move into the 2023 goals for next year. So let's move into now planning out 2023 blood sugar goals. And I say blood sugar because there's kind of two sides of this, right? There's actually following blood sugar goals. Like, okay, do I want to try to stay under 180 this year? Or, following actual blood sugar numbers. But then there's also diabetes goals and following some goals that aren't necessarily blood sugar numbers and just creating a goal around just diabetes in general. So let's first start with your blood sugars. So let's write down a goal that you really want to accomplish in 2023. And this is kind of where the recap comes from 2022, is take maybe one of those things and see, okay, what can I write down as my goal for 2023 in managing my blood sugars? What can I do differently that I didn't do in 2022 that I can do this coming year? So like I mentioned, for me, it's really just not eating as many pretzels in one sitting. And that's in the case of if I'm just eating pretzels and nothing else, I'm only going to do a handful of pretzels because I don't want to have to worry about the blood sugar levels later on in the day because it just makes me upset. This might not be your goal, by the way. This is my goal. This is Samantha's goal. Okay. And my other goal, a part of that was to eat pretzels with other foods that are filled with fiber and protein, because that will help me manage my blood sugars while I'm eating processed food, because I'm not giving up processed food. Okay, I like processed food. I do. So I'm going to keep eating the pretzels. So what can I do to better manage my blood sugars while I'm eating those pretzels, right? So I'm going to eat them with a meal. And if I'm only eating pretzels, I'm just going to do a handful. So that is one of my blood sugar goals. What is your blood sugar goal? Make sure to write that down. And it can be anything. It can be, I'm going to stay under 180. Great. It can be, I'm going to stay under 220, right? We're all going to have different goals. It can be whatever you want it to be. Or maybe yours is, I want to stay around 100 most of the day. Now, that goal is great. However, I would like you to make it more measurable, right? So if you say, I want to be 100 most of the day, wonderful, but what's most of the day? Is that from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? Is that from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.? Like, make sure to write down the actual times and have all of that listed so you know how to measure it going forward when you're looking at your blood sugar daily and trying to stay in that goal range. Once you have that part written down, let's go and create a goal that is more diabetes related. So looking back again at last year, I was really proud of myself for attending diabetes events, right? So that can be a goal going forward in 2023 as well. And that is one of my goals. I want to continue to be a leader in the diabetes space because I want to help all of you. It makes me feel better if I'm helping someone else. That's just who I am as a person. So I want to make sure that I am still sharing these videos in 2023. I am growing now, a podcast as well with the same information, but I just want to widen up, my space where people can find me so that they can better themselves as well. So I'm going to continue to go to events in 2023. And if you want to even deepen that further, is write down what events you want to attend, because a lot of them are already out there, like events scheduled for 2023. So write down some events that you want to attend. I want to actually start doing this because I haven't done this. I want to have more one-on-one meetings. I don't want to, meetings is not the right word, but I just want to hang out one-on-one with other type 1 diabetics. So I've done a lot of group events. Like I've attended that adult camp and I was a counselor at the kids camp, but those were events with lots of people. In 2023, want to start hanging out with other type 1 diabetics one-on-one. So I'm going to start reaching out to other people and say, hey, let's go get a glass of wine to one person, because I want to meet people more personally in 2023. So that is a goal that I have. And I even want to break that down even further. So I'm going to say, I'm going to reach out to one person a month that has diabetes, and I'm going to ask them to meet me somewhere for coffee, for wine, to go hiking, whatever it is. I'm going to reach out to one person per month to go meet with me one-on-one, and we can go do some type of event. So that is my diabetes goal. What is your diabetes goal? So not numbers related, move that aside. What diabetes goal can you create for yourself this year that would make you a better person in a year from now when you're looking back at 2023? It can be anything. It can be anything from, I want to become more social on social media. I want to post more about my diabetes life on social media. I'm going to post one photo a week about my diabetes situation. That would be a great goal. There's not enough of us sharing our information on social media, right? We need to be doing that. And if that's your goal, amazing. Write that down. Write that down. Share your story. I want to hear it. And I guarantee you there's somebody out there who wants to hear your story too. So write that down. How about attending events like I have? Have you attended a diabetes event before? How many have you attended? Maybe increase that number going forward in 2023. Maybe make more diabetic friends, because it really does make a difference. If you only have 2 diabetes friends, try to make 2 more this year. What can you do to make more diabetes friends? Write all of this down, because it's really, really important for you to have a good life with diabetes, because it's not going away. It's not, unfortunately. So instead of being angry, about diabetes, let's make it a positive. And what can you do in 2023 to make diabetes a positive? What about something as simple as reading a book about diabetes? That can be a goal for 2023. Or maybe I'll read 4 books about diabetes, 1 each quarter. There's that book, Diabetes Sucks. I still haven't read it, but it's on my list to read. I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I really, really want to. So that's on my list as well. Read Diabetes Sucks, and you can handle it in 2023. There's so many books out there related to diabetes. So find one and put it on your list to read in 2023. So those are just some examples. Obviously, you can create your own. Just make sure your goals are measurable. So you've heard probably of like SMART. It's like the metric to follow when you're creating goals. So that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So make sure all your goals are SMART and follow the SMART method, and write them down. If you're feeling crazy, make sure to share them with me below, or share them with me in the comments. I'd love to read them. We can hold each other accountable for these goals. I hope that was really helpful when you're planning out goals for 2023. Just make sure to look back at 2022 first, because it will help you create goals going forward. So this is my last message to you this year, which is crazy. And I just want to say thanks so much for being here, supporting me this past year, and I can't wait to see what we all do in 2023. All right, guys, thanks so much. I'll see you next year. Bye.